Hey, hey, hey! You see that cute extra dog? Suck a duck! Suck a duck! This is Suck a dog. Sokka is my sister's cavapoo. And he is with us. He's been with us all week. Gonna be with us for the weekend, huh, Sokka dog? He likes to go pee in my house, so I will be taking extra breaks actually while we're here. Hey Google, set a timer for an hour and a half so I take him to the potty. Is it Dwani? How are you doing? Let's start. Let's start. With a blog post. I'm having fun doing blog post reviews. Is anybody else? Oh gosh. Sorry. I just noticed something, so just let me. I've been messing with my camera. And I just need this to be 350. There you go. I guess Dwani is your name. Glad to have you here. I'm glad YouTube's picking up traffic. I'm glad. YouTube's not usually where we see the most impact, but I'll take it. I'll take anything. I don't know. I guess we should move this up to the top. That's just a basic webcam, a Logitech webcam. No, oh, and then since I've moved this. Oh, I almost had it. No, that's too uncrispy. There we go. You see that crispness on the eyebrow? That's what the focus is for. Crispness on the eyebrow. Well, let me just say, ever since I was on the GoTime podcast, where they just like review things, basically all they do is go over Go News, and then not the GoTime podcast. I was on that too. The other podcast, Cup of Go. Hey Pedro, you almost got the emote right. Anyway, I think this is fun. I had a lot of fun reviewing the last one, and considering that everybody at work thinks I'm a Go expert, I think it'd just be really fun to go just to see how user-friendly these are. Now, this is by Robert Griesmer, one of the founders of the language, about alias names. And actually, I skimmed it. This is a cold read. When I skimmed it, it was kind of cool. I didn't know about this. Like, I didn't know about any of the features of Go 123 because I don't pay attention. I listen to the Cup of Go podcast because I don't want to pay attention to what's going on. So let's do some leyendo. Leyendo. Okay. This post is about generic alias types, what they are and why we need them. Go was designed for programming at scale. Programming at scale means dealing with large amounts of data, but also large code bases with any engineers working on code bases over large periods of time. That's really funny. Cubano! Bienvenido! Cubano, bienvenido! This is really funny. This is really funny because this is literally like, why isn't Go used for data engineering then? Oh, let's just copy this. This is what Twitter's for ranting, right? Of the new go.dev blog post. So why isn't Go a top data engineering language? That is the question. That is the question. Still don't know. Still don't know. Okay. But also large code bases with many engineers working on those code bases over large periods of time. Yes, I agree. Go's organization of code into packages enables programming at scale by splitting up large code bases into smaller, more manageable pieces, often written by different people connected through public. This is hilarious. Because Google's a monorepo and the Go team works in a monorepo, but they literally just said, hey, microservices. Woo! Often written by different people connected through APIs. Microservices. In Go, these APIs consist of identifiers exported by a package. The exported contents, types, variables, and functions. This includes the exported fields of structs and method types. Yep. Literally doing this in my Go course right now. Literally writing about that. As software projects evolve over time or requirements change, the original organization of the code into packages may turn out to be inadequate and require refactoring. Yes. Intro to Software 101. Refactoring may involve moving exported identifiers and their respective declarations from an old package to a new package. This also requires that any references to the moved declarations must be updated so that they refer to the new location. In large code bases, it may be unpractical and unfeasible to make change automatically, or in other words, to do the move and update all clients in a single change. I agree with that statement. I'm not going to make a comment. Somebody, instead, the change must happen incrementally. For instance, move function f as we add its declaration in a package without deleting the original declaration in the old package. This way, clients can be updated incrementally over time. Yes. Please do this and don't design for the future. Like, that's... Please quit designing for scale and just refactor for scale. I think that's what we need to just learn to do. Is refactor for scale, build right-sized services, and quit screwing around trying to build for something that may or may not happen in 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. Once all callers refer to f in the new package, the original declaration of f may be safely deleted, unless it must be retained indefinitely for backwards compatibility. That's why I don't build packages. Russ Cox describes refactoring in detail in his 2016 article on refactoring, code-based refactoring with help from Go. I wasn't even writing software in 2016, so. Moving function f from one package to another while retaining it in the original package is easy. A wrapper function is all that's needed. To move f from package 1 to package 2 declares the function f. A wrapper function with the same signature as package 1f and package 2f calls package 1f. The new caller may call package 2f. Old callers may call package 1f. Yes, in both cases, the function may eventually be called the same. So at Tailscale, they made me do it that way. And that sounds... This is really hard to imagine from description, but I literally remember doing something exactly like this. and I've only done it once and in one place. So clearly that's not how most people refactor. Most people move code and then say, ship it and hope it didn't cross your fingers. Ship it and cross your fingers. Moving constantly is similarly moving constants is similarly straightforward. Variables may take a bit more work. One may have to introduce a pointer to the original variable in the new package, perhaps use an accessor function. Typically, people use accessor functions and add abstraction that's unnecessary. This is less ideal, but at least it is workable. The point here is that for constants, variables, and functions, existing language features exist that provide incremental refactoring as described above. What about a type? What about a type? What is there that's not a constant variable or function? I think this is more than structs either. I think when they're referring to type, they're referring to things like time.duration, which is a type implementation of int64. So a time.duration is just an int64, but by calling it a time.duration, making it a custom type, I like to call them custom types, you allow for methods to be defined on that type. And so that's what I think they're meaning here. Not necessarily a struct, but something that you can define a method on. That's a type at this point. Anything you can define a method on will therefore be called a type. In Go, the qualified identifier, or just name for short, determines the identity of the type. So type T defined and exported by a package1. Just us for dinner. Undeported package1 is different from the otherwise identical type definition of a type T exported by package2. This property complicates the move from T from one package to another while retaining a copy of it in the original package. For instance, a value of type T package2.t is not assignable to a variable of type T package1.t because their type names and thus their type identities are different. During an incremental update phase, clients may have values and variables of both types, even though the programmer's intent is for them to have the same type. To solve this problem, Go 119 introduced the notion of a type alias. So Go 1.9. Woo! Oh my gosh, we're teaching people how to write Go for 1.9, which means we're teaching Go the right. It gives me a little bit of chills that it was introduced in 1.9. Ugh. A type alias provides a new name for an existing type without introducing a new type that has a different identity. In contrast to the regular type definition, type TTO, which declares a new type that is never identical to the type on the right-hand side of the declaration of an alias declaration, a type A equals T, E indicates an alias declaration. Declares only a new name A for the type on the right-hand side. Here, A and T denote the same and thus identical type T. Okay, so if I may summarize. Oh, that's a good question. Okay. Pedro had a great question. Thanks, Pedro. How many of you use Linux as your primary operating system? This is a good question. Okay, and we're gonna like literally clip this and send it to socials. No. The answer for me is Mac OS all the way, Mac OS every day. I have Pedro running on Windows, and then the only Linux I really have is on a Raspberry Pi. They're in the cron job. And Prometheus. So no, Linux is not my operating system. Is Linux your operating system? Joseph, you're thinking about switching to Linux from Mac. I think what stops most people is hardware. Not necessarily like, right? Anybody can have a box. But, like laptops. Like, wasn't Framework the laptop brand that was supposed to be like the new Mac? But it I don't know. It's 100% hardware. Not only is the M1 chip fantastic, but like we either have gaming PCs or servers. Like, those are the options. And so Linux is on servers, and then Windows is on gaming. And so now we're like, okay, great. How can we have a personal Linux machine when we don't have the hardware for it? Good question. That's why Linux is not anybody's primary operating system. Joseph, it's tough to argue with Mac hardware. Nothing's come close to it, which is one of the things that keeps me on the Mac. Arceus! Hey, there's the Linux user! There's that Linux user. Thank you for 6 months, Arceus. Arceus, did they send you to KubeCon? Are they sending you to KubeCon? I'm going to KubeCon. 6 months. 6 months. And you know how long it's been since I've worked with you? 4. Isn't that crazy? So basically what I'm saying here, when you do this type definition, it allocates new memory, and this type definition does not. You're not cool enough? Well, I got mad at Josh, told him he had to send people, so I guess you weren't on the short list. He's probably sending the architects, because, you know, architects need to go learn about SDLC instead of people who actually use Kubernetes. Alias declarations make it possible to provide a new name in a new package for the given type while retaining the type identity. Type T equals package.t. So if we were to do this, this would basically mean that we wouldn't have to have the accessor function. We could just make an alias and then update the value of the alias. And if we have good testing around it, okay, I'm good with that. The type name has to change from package1.t to package2.t, but the values of package2.t have the same type as variables of package1.t. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about generics. Go 1.18 introduced generics. Since that release, type definitions and function declarations can be customized through type parameters. For technical reasons, alias types didn't gain the same ability at that time. Obviously, there were also no large code bases exporting generic types and requiring refactoring, because it didn't exist, I guess is what you're saying? Today, generics have been around for a couple years, and large code bases are making use of generic features. Eventually, the need will arise to refactor these code bases with the need to migrate generic types from one package to another. I'm sure some people, like I said, that's assuming people do good job refactoring. I think most of us just grab our axe and hack it up and then hope it breaks. Rakin, hello, nice to see you here. Are you a Linux or Mac user? Because that was Pedro's last question. Not Linux or Mac. The question was, is Linux your daily driver operating system? Arceus said yes. Everybody else is like, no. Arceus, is that not how refactoring is, though? We're just like, chop it up and hope it works? To support incremental refactorings involving generic types, the future 1.24 release, planned for early February 2025, oh, that's so long from now, will fully support the type parameters to alias types in accordance with proposal. Oh my gosh, there have been 46,000 proposals. Rakin uses Linux and Windows only, never touched a Mac. My goodness. If you don't look at the code, you don't have to refactor. If you don't look at the errors, it's never broken. The new syntax follows the same pattern as it does for the type definitions and function declarations, with an optional type parameter list, the following identifier alias name on the left-hand side. Before this change, you could only write alias equals some type, but now you can also declare type parameters with the alias declarations. Type alias P1, C1, P2, C2 equals some type. Okay, you lost me. This is the problem with Go blog posts. We have some type, and then parameters? Like, are these like the constraints? I don't get it. Consider the previous example. Now with generic types, the original package 1 declared and exported a generic type G, with a type parameter P. Okay, yes. So the parameter is the constraint. P1, constraint 1, P2, parameter 1, constraint 1, parameter 2, constraint 2. I get it now. So a constraint just says these are the possible types you can use based on that constraint. So this some type would have to be one of these two types, but can be generically any of those types. Interesting. Consider the previous. Okay. I did not make that any clearer for anybody that does not have generics code living in their front of mind. Like, if you don't use generics regularly, everything I just explained will not make any sense. And that is, again, the problem with these blog posts. And it's not the problem with the author, it's the problem with the audience. Like, I don't quite know who the audience is for, who the audience is intended to be. This one is clearly an audience of people who use generics all the time and know what generic code is exactly supposed to look like. If the need arises to provide access to the same type G from a new package 2, the generic alias type is just the ticket. So path to package 1 in package 2, we have a constraint. Constraint should also be used directly in G. So we have type G, constraint, package G, applying the constraint to what's in G. Okay, so it's literally, oh look, I got distracted by chat. Look at that, there's a conference in less than a month. Go West is in less than a month. Get your tickets. Oh gosh, I'm yelling into the microphone, I apologize. Note that one cannot simply write type G equals package G. Why can't we do that? Because of the constraints that are required on the original generic type, saying that that generic type has to fall into a subset of types. Right? That's what a constraint is. A constraint says the type you use has to be part of the set. If it's not part of the set that follows the constraint, it can't be used there. Okay. Per existing spec rules, generic types must be instantiated with when they are used. The right-hand side of the alias declaration uses the type package1.g, and therefore the type argument must be provided, which is G. Oh no, which is the constraint. Ugh. Not doing so would require an exception for this case, making the spec more complicated. It is not obvious that a minor convenience is worth the complication. Yeah. If alias declaration doesn't need to declare its own type parameters, instead simply inherits them from the alias type package1.g, the declaration of A provides no indication that it is a generic type. Its type parameter and constraints would have to be retrieved from the declaration of package1.g, which itself might be an alias. Readability will suffer. Readable code is one of the primary aims of the Go project. Okay. Do you think readability is the answer, or do you think they just couldn't make reflection work all the way back in the stack? To me, it just sounds like by requiring constraints to be attached or parameters to be attached to the generic type, they're basically saying, we don't have to worry too much about implementing reflection further than the existing generic spec requires reflection. Otherwise, it would be like a huge reflection mess and probably would slow down execution times. Yeah, so I think speed is the reason why. Ooh. Pedro says, what is the most frustrating bug you've ever encountered in your coding journey? Anybody got an option? I mean, if you don't look at the code, you don't have any bugs, right? I don't know. They always say that, and since my code is perfect and doesn't have any bugs, none. Writing down an explicit type parameter list may seem like an unnecessary burden at first, but it also provides additional flexibility. For one, the number of type parameters declared by an alias type doesn't have to match the number of parameters of the alias type. Ooh. Ooh. That's nice. Look at this, right? So we've got type map k comparable v any. So this says that the key has to be comparable, but the value can literally be any acceptable type in Go. And we're calling that map implementations. If uses of the map sets are common. The alias type set k comparable equals map k bool might be useful. Oh, wait, I thought we were using map implementation. Oh, map is the type. Map implementation is literally saying, put your map here. That's funny. Okay. But this is an alias type such as setInt and setMapInt are identical. This, okay, because it is an alias type such as setInt and mapIntBool are identical because it's just an alias. This would not be the case if set were a defined non-alias type. That doesn't make any sense. Furthermore, the type constraint of a generic alias type doesn't have to match constraints of an alias type. They only have to satisfy them. For instance, for using the set above, one could define a int set as follows: integers interface of all of the ints, int set integers set k. Oh, it's saying k has the same no matter what. Gotcha. Because the integer satisfies comparable, the type k parameter, which is also comparable. Oh, I see. I see. Okay, so it's finally because an alias. Okay, I think I get this. I would never use that though. Finally, because an alias may also denote a type literal, parameterized alias make it possible to create a generic literals. So a struct of x, y, z of e, where e is any. To be clear, none of these examples are special cases or somehow require additional rules in the spec. They allow differently from applications of existing rules in the place for generics. The only thing that changed in the spec is the ability to declare parameters in an alias declaration. Yes, I agree. I'm gonna keep reading this, but I don't want to. I'm so bored. Generics make me bored. Before the introduction of alias types, Go only had one form of type declaration. Type name existing type, yes. This declaration creates a new and different type from an existing type and gives that type a name. Yeah, it does. It was natural to call such type name types. Oh, this is what I've been calling custom types. They're named types, as they have a type name in contrast to unnamed type literals such as struct int, y int. With introduction of alias in 1.9, it became possible to give the name alias to type literals too. Oh yeah, I use that in tests all the time. For instance, consider type point2d equals struct y, x, y int. Yeah, that's how I do tests. Go 1.9 came out before I was writing Go, so I don't know anything about 1.8. Because proper name types... Oh, sorry, skipped a paragraph. Suddenly, the notion of a name type describing something that is different from a type literal didn't make that much more sense, since an alias name clearly is a name for a type, and thus the denoted type, which might be a type literal, not a type name, arguably could be called a named type. I think, yes, point2D is a named type. Because proper named types have special properties, yeah, like I said, one can bind methods to them. It seems prudent to use the term in order to avoid confusion. Thus, since Go 1.9, the specs have called types formerly called named types defined types, not custom types, defined types. I should learn that word and put it in my literature. Only defined types have properties such as methods, assignability restrictions, etc., that are tied to their names. Defined types introduced through type definitions and alias types are introduced through alias declarations. In both cases, their names are given to types. The introductions of generics in Go 1.18 made these things more complicated. Oh yeah, they did. Type parameters are types. 2. They have a name. They share rules with defined types. For instance, like defined types, two different named type parameters denote different types. In other words, type parameters are named types, and furthermore, they behave similarly to Go's original name types in some ways. To top things off, Go, you are... Oh, this is ads. I thought Pedro was asking a new question. Go's pre-declared types, int, string, and so on, can only be accessed through their name, and, like defined types and type parameters, are different if their names are different. Ignoring for the moment the byte and rune aliases, the pre-declared types are truly named types. Therefore, with Go 1.18, the spec came full circle and formally reintroduced the notion of name types, which can now comprises pre-declared types, defined types, and type parameters. To correct the alias types denoting types literals, the spec says an alias denotes a named type if the type given in the alias declaration is a named type. I'm so glad I don't build a language. This is too much to know. This seems like an exercise in semantics. And I hate semantics. Exercise in semantics. Stepping back and outside the box of the Go nomenclature for a moment, the technical term for a name type in Go is a nominal type. Isn't that okay? I thought those were synonymous. Named and nominal. A nominal type's identity is explicitly tied to its name, which is exactly what Go's named types are about. A nominal type's behavior is a contrast to a structural type, which has behavior that only depends on its structure, not its name. Putting all that together, Crow's pre-declared, defined, and type parameter types are all nominal types, while Go's literals and aliases denoting type literals are structural types. Both nominal and structural types can have names, but having a name doesn't mean the type is nominal. It just means it is named. So they're not the same thing. Did anybody understand any of this? None of this matters for day-to-day use of Go. Of course not. Nothing that you've said literally matters for the day-to-day use of Go. Not a single thing. And in practice, the details can be safely ignored, but precise terminology matters in the spec because it makes it easier to describe the governing rules of the language. Yeah, that's why I'm never going to build a language, because it doesn't matter when you're building something, right? Building a language doesn't... Building things with the language has nothing to do with building a language, I guess is what he literally just said. COBOL Riken is your most underrated programming. Do you work at a company that uses COBOL? So should the spec change its terminology one more time? It's probably not worth the churn. My sister's company uses COBOL. My sister's not a software engineer, she's a project manager, but their engineers use COBOL. It is not just the spec that would need to be updated, but it is a lot of supporting documentation. A fair number of books written in Go might become inaccurate. Oh gosh. So now we need backwards compatibility for nomenclature. That's literally, you want to know what this just said? This whole paragraph right here just said, Go has to have backwards compatibility for nomenclature because we don't want somebody to have to make a V2 of their book or an addition to. That's literally what I just read. Which isn't even how science works. So why should programming languages work that way? Right? Like, we disprove theories all the time and have to update science textbooks. So why can't we update a programming language? That's really funny. Furthermore, named, while less precise, is probably intuitively clearer than nominal because they're synonyms for most people. It also matches the original terminology used in the spec, even if it not requires an exception for alias type denoting type literals. Availability. Well, we already determined that this was coming out. Oh, Go experiment. This comes out in 124. That's what I'm saying. If Apple can have dongles, we can sell a second edition of a book. That's all I'm saying. It's not like they have practice problems that are different. You know, in my physics textbook in college, we couldn't get V3. We had to get V4 because some of the practice problems that were due for homework were only available in V4, not V3, you know, or the numbering was different. So even though the words didn't change and you get the same material, if you didn't get V4, it would be inaccurate. That's what I'm saying. If science can change, why can't computers? Implementing generic type aliases has taken longer than expected. It took you like 10 years to implement generics. Why would aliases be... Okay, never mind. The necessary changes required adding a new exported alias type in the Go types, then adding the ability to record type parameters with that type on the compiler side. The analogous changes also require modifications to the export data format, the file format that describes the package exports, which now needs to be able to describe type parameters for aliases. The impact of these changes is not confined to the compiler, but affects clients of Go/types and thus many third-party packages. Well, probably. This was very much a change affecting a large code base. To avoid breaking things, an incremental rollout over several releases was necessary. Yes, in the compiler, I totally agree. After all this work, generic alias types will be available by default in Go 1.24 to allow third-party clients to get their code ready. Starting with Go 1.23, support for generic type aliases can be enabled by setting Go experiment equal alias type parameters when invoking the Go tool. That's what we did with GoMod, was the Go experiment. That's not bad. Oh, the doggos aren't on camera. But I felt it. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, little boy dog? However, be aware that support for generic aliases is still missing for that version. Full support, including export, is implemented at tip, and a default setting for Go experiment will soon be switched so the generic type aliases are enabled by default. Thus, another option is to experiment with the latest version of Go at tip. Which would be the release candidate? No, I think it's experimental still. As always, please let us know if you encounter problems by filing an issue. The better we test the new feature, the smoother the rollout. Thanks for the refactoring. So, in review, this is saying how to do generic, essentially generic refactoring with generics, and that you can use type aliasing to make your generics easier. I've never written with generics for production code, so I would never need to refactor them, and therefore this article is of no use to me. But if you did use generics, I say pay attention. Right? That's pretty much it. So let's take a break. Let's do some monkey type and some Vim Racer, and then we'll go dive into some Docker. May such high world, because we're gonna be back in Vim, which means we gotta get the against part she more group. Does anybody else like say what they type? I think I type slower when I'm speaking. Hey, Joseph. Through. Like, I do when I'm pairing. When I'm pairing, I have to say what I'm typing. Yeah, we're repeating this test because that one is bad. But I type much slower world when I'm say what I'm typing out loud. Oh, see, that's 52. That's not bad. Let's try a new test. See, look, I got 63 when I was quiet with 94% accuracy. Okay, let's try again. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm losing. Ah! It tripped me up. That thing tripped me up. Have you guys ever seen Vim Adventure? Vim Racer? Vim Racer's fun. So I have to go. Basically, I have to go here. Oh gosh, no, that was supposed to go there. I got 191st. No, 1921st. Use percent? El Cravo, what do you mean use percent? What does percent do? I only use percent %S for searching. You can't do percent %S for something else? Can I enable relative lines? Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh. No. Shh. You can use the percent sign to move that way? I've never used the percent sign that way. So, like... No. What is this? This percent sign thing's not doing a single gosh darn thing. See, I'm faster just doing J and K. My goodness. This says it's supposed to access. It says you have access to every vim command right here. I don't get it. It said I had access to every vim command. Try it in Vim. Um. Say that. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. That percent sign doesn't do much. So we need to give Podman more memory. Ooh. Oh, so I see I have to get there. I have to get to the opening one to use the closing one. I see what you're saying now. Relative lines. So where was that? So if we were to play again, where was that? Oh, here. Oh, I see what you're saying. Then you can use relative lines. I've wanted to try Vim with relative lines, but then I was like, I didn't because I don't know what to do with that. Because I'm used to memorizing. Because I'm used to. Oh, look, Podman's starting machine. I'm used to memorizing what lines things are on. Five J to move down 5 lines? Oh, duh. I didn't even think about that. Oh, I can just set memory? Okay. So I needed to Podman set. Was it Podman? How was it Podman set? Podman set dash memory. The memory defaults to 8, and I need to set it to 16. What? She set's not a thing. Podman system? What does that say? Podman system info? Oh, look at that. So I wasn't able to build this because I didn't. There's a Docker image. So the Docker image that we have right now in here builds DuckDB, and I have to be able to get it to build DuckDB in order to be able to get it to build the Postgres extension for DuckDB. It's 2:30 p.m. Whoa! You can do what to my phone? Oh, that's scary. It was Podman System? Pod. Oh my gosh! Rug! That wasn't a programming joke! That's the first time it didn't do a programming joke! The first time! That's incredible! Oh, coffee file? I didn't realize it said file. Oh, a Java file? Oh, well, somebody should teach Pedro that Java's a bad word. Oh, gosh. Who's banning Java? A coffee file? That's funny. A coffee file is a Java class file that contains debugging information, similar to how coffee fuels your morning. It's basically a .class file with debugging symbols intact. Think of it as Java code with a shard of espresso. How dare you mention Java on my channel, Pedro? Constraint to the kernel memory available to a container. If the limit is 0, not specified using kernel memory, the kernel memory is not limited. Then why does it break? Oh, there it is. Hey, look! Why did the coffee file why did the... Oh, it is again a coffee file! I understand that file's a verb. Pedro's the one that has no concept of syntax. Okay, so basically we got it to work with Kalima, which I don't remember how we did that. Well, we just said that the memory was 16 and the CPU 4. So if I did podman start podman machine stop, podman machine start help. Okay, what's podman machine help? Podman machine. I'm gonna just straight up do CPU for memory. Oh, it was like the CPU for memory 8 with a start. Yeah, I didn't know how to do that. But it said I could do it at build, right? That's what it was suggesting. Oh, at runtime I could do that. Interesting. Oh, it doesn't have a CPU flag? I thought it did. System connection list. I have like 5 of these. I have 2. I have Podman machine default root and Podman machine default. How are they different? Oh, I should just do this. Okay, we'll do that first. Podman machine stop. Podman machine set root full. Podman machine start. Now it should be able to build the thing without me providing the should I still provide the memory arguments? See, look. The memory limit could be low. Didn't have that problem with Kalima. Oh, I'm restricting memory and CPU, and it wants to have all of it. Will this annihilate OBS? I just need to verify. So we got this working with Kalima. Download more RAM. Download more RAM. Download more RAM. That's all we gotta do. We just gotta download more RAM. I've been getting a lot of ads recently for Mac Studio cases because oh, this built. Okay, so clearly I just needed to run it at root full and it worked. So that I could buy a Mac Studio and then put it in a case and carry it around with me. I have a MacBook Pro Max on the M1. Yeah, so why would I need to why would you care if you were going to port a Mac Mini around, you need to port around a Mac Mini and a keyboard and a screen and a laptop. And I have 3 screens and a keyboard and a mouse. So it's like ridiculous. Why are they advertising that to me? I need to we just did a launch at work, so we're going to have a party. And they just messaged me about scheduling it. So I'll need to message her back today. I wasn't planning on doing it next week cuz probably next Wednesday, even though I work from home for Wednesday. Maybe Tuesday or Monday. I don't know. Ooh, look. Oh, it's gonna crap out. It's gonna crap out. Look at that. Oh no. Oh no. It's not gonna be able to build DuckDB. I just need it to build DuckDB in Postgres. If it can build DuckDB in Postgres. If it can build DuckDB in Postgres, then I can build the extension in Postgres, and then I can have a container that I just host on GitHub Container Registry, and I can import it. Somebody replied to me, and their reply doesn't make any sense on my Twitter post. NeoVim! Pedro, it's NeoVim. How many times do I have to tell you? Whenever Pedro says stuff like this, I like to reply so that I can taint Pedro's vector index. I just have to get Pedro pulling from the vector database at some point. Come on, build! So yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go. What? Nice to meet me. Pedro, I built you. What do you mean nice to meet you? Oh my gosh. Then at least it's, but the response isn't bad, even though I built Pedro, so Pedro should know who I am. Sokka, where you going? Crap. He's walking like he's gonna go poop. Sorry, I'll be right back. Gotta take this dog potty. Let's go! Let's go potty, Sokka! What? Rug, Matt, what are you doing? You're right, I wasn't watching. Sorry. So, Notepad isn't the best code editor, amigo. I think you meant to say Visual Studio Code is a great option. Haha, that's why I said I'm not walking. Oh yeah, boy, Pedro can't get the connection between me and me. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's a Pedro is a legitimate domain. So, how long is this gonna take to freaking build? Um, just build it on a GitHub runner, right? So, what happened? I've been watching my sister's dog. My sister went to Disneyland. We've been watching her dog. So my two dogs are now joined by their cousin dog. And literally yesterday, I was sitting here on my computer, And like there's a half wall just right out in front of me, right next to the stairs. And so I looked out, and this dog just walked up to my half wall, raised its leg, and peed on it in the middle of the afternoon. And so now I'm like, every time that dog leaves my side, I'm terrified it's gonna go pee somewhere. This isn't a puppy, this is a 4-year-old dog. Well, maybe 3. Sokka, are you 3? 3-year-old dog. Potty trained. So anyway, that's why I had to run. Because getting pee smell, it's not out of things, is not what I want to do in my free time. Okay, so that build, I wonder. I wonder if we can just add a workflow. That's why I wanted to make it. Okay, I always think it's O, but it's P. I know it's I for some reason in my head I have replaced P with O. I do not know why I've done that, but I've done that multiple times. The other thing I replaced in my head was like in high school, my best friend in high school replaced her birthday with a different date. And I always thought it was the wrong date. I could never get the right date correct. It just, in my head, it was just written a certain way. And it will never be written the other way, ever. Make -p never be written that way. It will always be make -o. Did that not work? I'm sorry, my music's not working. I updated to what is it? It's not Sequoia, it's like the other one. The big trees that are old. It is Sequoia. I updated to Sequoia. And it's not Sonoma, it's Sequoia. I updated to Sequoia. Um I don't need Docker build X. I just need Docker build. Why is it always using build X? Python or JavaScript? Really, Pedro? What's the Cameo action? I don't know what's going on here. Where's Mariah's like GitHub action stuff? Because I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere. I have something somewhere, right? Oh yeah, I do. This isn't. This doesn't have a Docker in it, but this is what I want. So I want to fetch that, and then I want to do Docker build. Does that Docker build the latest image? And then like the push to Docker Hub. Don't need any of that. All I need is build, right? Matt Schlosser? Is that your last name? Matt Schlosser. Look at that. Sokka, what are you doing? This is just a bash script. Oh, to make dir? I see. It does. Oh, so that whenever I do O, it. I did it again, didn't I? To make my O a P every time? That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, I don't have a remote. Ha! I didn't even set up a repo for this because I was like, why would I do that? Why do I need to make a repo? And what's wrong with that? No, just. Let me use GitHub runners, please. One password literally just told me that GitHub was used to sign into my Twitch. I'm gonna put that on Discord because that's actually quite hilarious. That's not what happened, but it thinks that's what happened. Error in my syntax. I didn't sign into anything. I just refreshed my chat browser. That's all I did. Was I refreshed my chat browser, and then it decided that that means I am now signing into Twitch with GitHub. Line 17. Oh, it's because it's a name. That should be correct. want you to know that I have a horrible relationship trying to get Docker to do anything. I usually don't. Usually I just give up. What am I working on? I'm working on the funnest thing ever. So what I'm doing, what I'm doing is I am trying to get, oh yes, here's our context. Oh, I broke it again. What do you mean there's an issue with line 17? Didn't I commit my branch? Sorry, I'm distracted. Give me a second. Waking up. Okay, no PR from this one. Probably because it doesn't think there's a difference yet. So what am I trying to do? This. So DuckDB has a new Postgres extension, which means I can run DuckDB inside of Postgres. Why run DuckDB inside of Postgres, you may ask? Because the Go DuckDB driver uses Seago, and Mariah has a very I hate Seago. It's not a love-hate relationship. It is just a hate-hate relationship. Seago hates me. I hate Seago. We don't like each other. I had a plan a while ago to build an automated analytics pipeline for my meetup stuff so that we could get kind of like live, or anybody that runs a meetup or whatever could get live stats on RSVP count, on number of people involved, connection, all kinds of different things. Pedro likes to recycle questions. Anyway, so it was this automated analytics pipeline so we could get insights to our various different meetup analytics. We have about 10 meetups, so, you know. And I could just scrape it from meetup.com, or if we were to do events outside of Meetup. Anyway, all of these things, it would, like, the benefit would be, it would be analytics and insights for if anybody were to donate money, they could see where their money was going to. But I couldn't get the Docker image with DuckDB to build because of Seago, and I really struggle getting Seago to build in Go because there's a flag you have to use. You basically have to enable Seago, and I don't like to do that. Anyway, it was too hard. But if I could put Seago inside of Postgres, not Seago, the other thing. If I put DuckDB inside of Postgres, which is my plan, then I only have to connect my Go app to a Postgres instance, which is easy. I do that all the time. That's like literally my entire career is connecting to Postgres. So then I can run my analytics queries on my Postgres instance using DuckDB. Yes. Anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do this. So here's where we ran into issues. So I try to do this. I want to host it on a Raspberry Pi. So I tried to do it on the Raspberry Pi, just running Postgres. The issue was I had to be on Ubuntu version 2 point whatever. And my Raspberry Pi, Raspbian's not that up to date, so I couldn't build it on my Pi, which means I either have to... Anyway, so I said, great. Well, I know I can have the correct Ubuntu version on a Docker image. So if I could have Postgres in a Docker image, I could then put it anywhere. So that's what we're doing. We have we're trying to build the DuckDB, but the DuckDB extension can't just be installed, it has to be built. That's the other problem. So in order to build the DuckDB extension, we have to have DuckDB and Postgres installed in the Docker container. I wonder if there's a DuckDB official Docker image. That might be easier. Oh, you just had the same thought. I didn't even think about doing a DuckDB image. See, this is where we break every time. So right now, this is my Docker file. And this is the issue. The issue right here is this. Is building DuckDB. But if I could, if there was a DuckDB Docker image... Yeah, so they don't have it here. You will let me see what's in your Docker file. I need to get some recovery codes, clearly. I've been busy. Okay, what version of Ubuntu did I need? No, I don't, sorry. It literally said Ubuntu 22.04. So this one won't work. Debbie and Bullseye. This should be the latest. This should work, right? Stop. Hey Google, set a timer for 5 o'clock. So I could probably just do Docker pull. Oh, see, because I was trying to do it. So yeah, we should be able to build it like this. And I don't need to install. I don't need to do. Wait, what did. Okay. Sorry. I got confused about what I deleted. So that means. I think. Okay, we're gonna copy that again. Oh, I have to do the full thing. You have to do docker.io/, right? So it doesn't exist? Is that what that says, that it doesn't exist, or is it like over here? That's what I should have done. I should have just done the checkout with the make.build. Um, I'm thinking. Is this how you... Would it be at the GitHub container registry? chcr.io, right? I thought they deprecated GitHub container registry, right? Oh, let's try this. David Gaskis? DuckDB. Did I misspell that? I don't think so. Should I try the Docker Hub one? Oh, we did something where we messed up our Docker daemon. What? Oh yeah, no, this is exactly what I was looking at. You're saying they're making a Docker file? Oh, look at that. This is the exact extension I've been looking at. Yeah, it does look like they're getting the Docker. Yeah, they just don't have the... They have the Docker file, but not the image. So... Docker Bake HCL. Well, I'm sure that they're using it in their cloud, right? Like... So Mother Duck is their cloud. Yeah, like we were looking at the build tools required for it, and that's how we made that Docker image. It just like... Should I just see how their Docker image is different than mine? This is just a Postgres. I don't see... Maybe they're make clean all? But they definitely are not doing the explicit build that I am. I think it's a work in progress, yeah. Clean DuckDB. Yeah, it looks like this is all a work in progress. Like, oh, I see. The branch is they have a branch to add a Docker image. So the Docker image is only in the branch. Ha! I could win. Okay, well then I'll say don't podman machine. I'm just gonna do it this way then. What was I doing running Postgres? What's Kalima? It's like Podman. It's a binary that builds Docker containers. There you go. What's the best way to handle infinite loops in Python? Don't write them. What, my Postgres password? I'm sure it was. Not a password? Pretty much. Oh, yeah. See, I had this alias right here. Oh, I have to do build X now all the time? Oh, that's why it didn't make any sense. Oh, I can't tag it anymore? That's how I've always done tag. Yeah, tag. So why doesn't it let me do this? Oh, oh gosh. Docker build is deprecated? Yeah, I know that Docker daemon is down because I'm running Colima. See? So once I have Colima running, it should just work, it says. But the issue was... I need to set the set that to Colima. Oh, did I Colima start? Yeah, it's running. So clearly this host is wrong. There we go. What? It's a syntax error? On my Docker file? You sure? Or are you talking about what? Where does it say that? Oh, right there. I just didn't read it. I just can't read. Thank you, Rug. I don't think I ever would have figured that out. Hey, that worked. I don't know what I'm building, but it's working better. So I don't know what Podman's deal is, but if Colima works better, I'm just gonna switch to Colima, right? Okay, so right now I think I'm duplicating half of the work that the image already did. So, do I want to clone it? I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing. No, well, not right now, obviously. Yes, I have to clone the repo in order to build the extension, yes. Yeah, you do. You have to clone the repo to build the extension. Like, look. Oh, I... Pre-built binaries and additional installations coming soon. So you have to clone it and run make install. Like, this is it. That's the only option right now. Oh, Todd. Todd, this was for you. Pedro said, "What is the best programming language for beginner?" This was my response. Oh, I might have cloned the wrong repo. Oh, no, yes, I am cloning both repos right now. And yes, I am doing too much. I realized that as soon as I saw what the image we were building were. But I'm just letting it run right now. So right here, as soon as I saw this, I realized that the Docker image was doing too much work. Because it's building DuckDB itself right now. And then... yeah, so right now it's building DuckDB. And then... see? So, yes. But I'm kind of just testing Colima to see if it explodes the same place Podman did. Is that bad to have an ulterior motive? Yeah, so Podman, so essentially the issue that I got with Podman is the same issue that I was getting last time I streamed this, which was 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks? I don't know. Too long ago? Was it would run out of memory. So essentially the memory allocated to Podman wasn't enough. like it would essentially fill up with the C++ dependencies. So the virtual memory of the Docker of the Podman virtual machine was completely taken up by the Docker build, and that's why it would crash. We like literally ran into that error for 3 hours and then figured out what it was. And so I was like, "Oh, well maybe I can resolve this with Podman." And it was not intuitive enough for me to care, but we had resolved it with Kalima, which is why I went back to Kalima, because Kalima was working on my friends on Mihai Todor's stuff, and it wasn't working with mine. So essentially, see, we got past step 7, which was where we were stuck before, was 7 of 466. Now we're at 9 of 553. So I'm just kind of testing the Kalima build stuff. So yeah, so it's not like Podman blew up. It's just I didn't know how to use it right. And I didn't want to take the time to figure it out when we'd already figured this one out. Uh-oh. The other thing too that's interesting is look at all, like, these are DuckDB, like, I only need to build DuckDB because DuckDB has to be installed to build the Postgres extension. So anyway, I probably don't need to do the full build. It's just so hard to think through these things sometimes. Yeah, so this is essentially the instructions that I was following for building DuckDB, which was all of these, because we're on Ubuntu, clone DuckDB, gen equals gingermake. See how they have these two extensions that we'll have to, but I won't need those. Look, you can build DuckDB on a Raspberry Pi. What? No, right there. This is a known issue? Could I have just done it with a gen equals make? Oh, what horrible content this is for me to just run a compiler the whole freaking time. But I mean, it's not taking forever. Well, that's not true. It's taking forever, but it's not stopped. Like, it's still building, you know? And this is why I write Go. Because I don't have to wait for an hour for C++ to build. Right? No, Go's build times, I don't wait to build Go. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you wait for C++ builds, you don't wait for Go builds. Cuz Go builds are so fast. They're like rocket ships in the sky. We should have sprinkled the article review intermittently, huh? Okay, well, what should we do while we wait? More monkey type? Oh, what'd Pedro say? Oh, is your favorite programming language used for game development? Are you a fan of C Sharp, Java, or maybe some Python magic? Sorry, it came up as moderated because apparently reading the word Java hurts my eyes. We're gonna retry that. I am concentrating so hard on this. Like there was so much thought going into that monkey type, which to me seems like the exact opposite of how monkey type should work. Oh my gosh. That was so bad. That accuracy was so bad. Number govern without while never high time interest. High they early each who form those increase person those about be on what group must this under plan against few follow move keep work off get. Okay, I just have to say it out loud apparently. We're on 19. Okay, so while that builds, basically if we're using DuckDB, well, okay, so the thing it said to do, I'm a little curious. I'm curious if doing that does anything. Essentially, what I should be able to do is this. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, wait. I don't need anything from Builder, do I? Oh! Yes, I do need to copy that from Builder. Okay. And this was the intent of this is I could run PSQL, so I could just do Docker run and I'd be in PSQL. What? I think I still need all this stuff. Right? Uh-oh. Omicron! Omicorn? Oh my corn? Is that oh my corn? Thanks for the follow, oh my corn. How you doing today? Ugh. Oh, so now I need Docker X. Oh, me corn. Or Omiko RN. Omi. Should we see which? Swap code. I'm doing good. How are you? Busy as ever. My goodness. Don't have a second to breathe these days. Where'd that? Oh, that dog's asleep. All of the dogs are hiding from the doggy cam. So in this pane, we're building DuckDB itself. And in this pane, we're installing dependencies to hopefully just build the extension. And we're going to see which one works first. And Kalima's way outperforming Postman. Did somebody ever benchmark these? How do you benchmark fake Docker? You struggle with Go? I'm sorry. Go is one of those languages where you just have to build it, and yeah, sorry. I just don't have any free time right now. I know that lots of people want to learn Go, and yeah. I always recommend boot.dev. That's Lane Wagner's full time. And Melky just released something. Go School is what he's calling it. I think it's funny. Oh, there's the puppy. Goes and finds the biggest bed in the house. My magic help? I'm sorry. I really just don't have the time right now. I have a conference coming up. We're doing a booth at CubeCon. My company is. And then running my team at work. It's just, yeah. Insane. I'll be so excited for the end of the year when I can just build my Christmas Legos. Because that's what I do. I just build Christmas Legos. Why are we setting up Python libraries? So all we're doing is setting up Python libraries. Oh, and the Go course that I'm supposed to be working on. That I need to follow up with my editor so he can give me the green light to record. That's... See, will somebody teach me how to say no? I would love to make a QA live stream. I was thinking, like, my literal thought would be, I would love to do an office hours type thing. That basically would be for, either be through a YouTube membership or a Patreon thing or, a, like, subscribers thing. I don't know, like a Twitch Prime or whatever. I just have to have the time to have a Q&A live stream. And so I'd rather build on Fridays. I want it to be a secondary stream, like a different time, an additional time. So I really need to just quit volunteering to do things. Or work less. Will somebody teach me how to work less? I would really love how to learn how to work less. Can we get Pedro to teach Go? What if we just got Pedro to do that? Like, all the time. Pedro's only job was to teach software. Wouldn't that be fun? Hey, Soypy Tech, I'm happy to help with Golang. I can share some examples, like this simple hello world program. Package main, import, semicolon. Hola mundo. That is straight up correct Go. If you wanted to write Go in one line, you should include those semicolons. So that's hilarious. Pedro, can you teach me how to write... I don't know. The only thing that I feel like we ever did at Tailscale was talk about semaphores, and I still don't know what they are. Worked there for an entire year and I have no clue what a semaphore is. None. Hey, Soy Pete Tech, I'm Pedro. A semaphore is a variable that controls the access to shared resources by multiple processes. Think of it as a traffic light for your code. In Go, you can access a mutex, e.g. sync.mutex, or a specific semaphore type, sync.semaphore. Let me show you an example. I can't believe it generated a Go playground that goes to nothing, because Pedro can't write an example, but it makes everybody think Pedro's super sentient. But that's fabulous. That's the best explanation of semaphore I've ever heard. Good job, Pedro. How's our builds going? Just don't ask Pedro how to do. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and it was the comment was that everybody should learn about how to do concurrency in Go so that they can never use it. So that they can learn how to never use it, essentially. Like the comment was, Go is super popular for concurrency, but at this point it feels like writing concurrent Go is an anti-pattern. But hey, I make money telling people how to not write code, I guess. You know, if I was just typing like this with the Docker build stuff going up, would people think I was a hacker? Could this just be like Mariah hacking the world? What's that hack code script where you just type and it throws up words? That's what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, what did I install? Oh, it must have cached everything in this one. Cuz I installed all the same things over here. We're on step 48 of 533. I'm just sitting here like, well, should we work on the Go course? I mean, what else should we be doing right now besides working on my Go course? Which is concurrency and how not to use it. Um, I feel like this should be a function. Yeah, there we go. There we go. And so now, if this global variable, don't use globals, was used anywhere else. There we go. Okay. So if you missed the story, hey Google, stop the alarm. Google, stop. If you missed the story, I'm babysitting my sister's dog. You can see him on the bed right there. The sister's dog just yesterday decided to just raise its leg and pee on my wall. So I am re-potty training it. And by that I mean taking it potty every 2 hours. It does a pretty good job of like going potty once it's outside. I just have to take it outside. So chat with Pedro and watch my Docker build. And I'll be right back. Come on, Saka, let's go potty. Favorite language for game development? Probably Go. Wait. Is it building? Pedro, how long have you been planning to take over the world? That's a good question. We have a dog coming to see us. Lulu says it's 5 o'clock, Mom. Mom, it's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock means time to stop. Did anybody else's brain turn off at 5 o'clock? Like, if I'm at work and it's like 4:30, my brain shuts off. One day I'll create a robot uprising. Hey, baby. Too bad you can't see. Oh, you do see the wearing nose. Oh, they get to see you on the Twitch stream. In the doggo. We got 2 doggos in the doggo cam. Right, Sucka? Come here. 2 doggos in the doggo cam. We got Lula doggo and Sucka doggo. Okay, I think we may have done it. Oh! Sucka, did you go give that camera a big ol' kiss? You did, didn't you? Oh, this is Sucka dog. He's a tiny little guy. It's a Lulu getting too much tension. He didn't think there could be a dog more jealous than Lulu, and I found it. It is my sister's dog. The only child dog, because you're the only one. I got 2 dogs, Max and Lulu, and Sokka's the only dog at his house. Yeah, Lulu says, it's 5 o'clock, Mom. Time to stop. Oh, we're at 2%. I'm seriously tempted, so I've got to go. But I'm seriously tempted. Oh, did the other one fail? Or finish? Failed. DuckDB binary build. Subcommand failed ninja. Okay, this is the only one. This one doesn't look like the memory errors in the past. So, I don't know if this failed on a memory error or not. So maybe it did. Sokka, you're sitting on my headphone cable. But this seems to be working okay. The only I'm seriously tempted to just like leave my stream on and have it just build so I can like literally get on my stream and check it. But I will, since we are using somebody's. Let's go. We're using this dude's thing, so we're gonna start it. And we should definitely save it, right? Hi, Lulu. Told you, she's the most jealous dog. Postgres plus DuckDB Go Analytics app. That's what this will be. Using Docker image. Git status, git add, git commit. Use DuckDB image. This is still broken. But I'm not even. I'm like. Pedro, why do you keep talking about Java? I'm gonna tell Pedro he can't use the word Java ever again. Yeah, it can just use Docker build. I don't need this. Because it runs in a Docker container, I'm pretty sure. And this should fix it. Right? That should do it? Okay. Okay, chat. I'm gonna do a poll first. Let's do another Choose Your Own Destiny poll. We love Choose Your Own Destiny polls. Okay, you got 5 minutes. Tell me if you want to just. I'll just put on some music and we can watch the Docker build. Or if you want to, raid somebody else. You only get this benefit if you watch on Twitch. Choose your own destiny activities only count on Twitch. We should have Pedro start doing choose your own destiny activities. Shouldn't we? No, this is my new repo, huh? What do you mean no conflicts? Yeah, but you should be able to run that now, right? Wait, why did this work? And then the new one doesn't work. Unexpected value on line 15? Oh yeah, the indenting's all wrong. So the runner probably has more memory than mine. So this might actually be quicker. Not that my M1's slow, because I don't think it's... A problem isn't necessarily my M1 Mac. It's the available memory on my M1 Mac, which is like none. Because of OBS. This is probably gonna be right. 1%. I want to see them side by side. Should we see which one wins? This one's at 4%, and this one's at 2%. It's definitely a C++ build. I don't know what to say. I can't believe that the GitHub runner is working faster than uh mine. Well, and the thing is this is actually using Docker. This is using Kalima. Didn't even work on Podman. We couldn't even get this far on Podman. So like, tell me. Tell me. What why? Why does Docker hate me? 5%, 10%. We can stay to the end of the Docker build. If it builds faster on GitHub Actions than on my local computer, it's 100% an interesting situation. I don't know if it's Kalima or it's just Docker. I don't know if it is hardware issue. Because there could totally be... Ooh, it's going to fail. Oh, it didn't fail. It could totally be a hardware thing, right? Like, building for ARM versus building for AMD. Which it'll have to build for ARM if I want to run it on a Raspberry Pi. So I'll have to figure that one out. But if I can't even build it locally, how am I supposed to test it locally? I could just use Docker Compose and pull it from remote, right? Like, it's not the... That seems so redundant. Why would I do a Docker Compose and pull it from remote? Why can't I just have it stored in my local Docker registry? Well, I mean, I could leave it building after I leave. It's just, yeah, we gotta get the stream running. Did you know that they integrated Copilot onto the website now? Look. I can get... This is beta. So, it's pretty cool. Auto completion. Wait, did it work? No, it's only at 25%. You think that's still running? That 5% still running? Okay, did we finish our poll? Did you know that GitHub Copilot can help you write Python? Because Python is the best programming language? Come on, Pedro. View results. Nobody! Nobody cares what they do. Hi, Sokka. Nobody cares what we do with our life? Why don't you care? Okay, we're gonna start a raid. I'm gonna leave this building though. You guys have fun. Thanks for hanging out. I'm still busy AF. Oh look, we got 6% over here. So in busy AF mode, we're just gonna keep joining meetup streams. We'll keep doing meetup streams. We'll keep doing Friday streams, and we'll figure out what's next in terms of content if you're in the area, come to Go West. If not, you can catch it right here, October 25th. And we'll see you around.